talk about reality TV and give us a little insight.
Okay, well, I will analyze this team for you. Okay, they're just they're very good,
They're
guys.
nasty.
They're seriously, I will say this team's just been very clutch. Like in rounds where it seems like it's gonna get hairy, and you don't really know. It's like the witching hour of a round, right? They always seem to come out on top, especially against LG yesterday. It was a whole lot of that. And you know what? Especially against a team like LG, who's really rough and around the edges, and kind of, I can describe them as a team of squiggly lines. The way LG plays, Reality TV handled it really well, and they're doing all this good stuff, right? I could say all good things about the team with like Giddy and Gavini, whoever. Like they're doing all this without Tristan playing all that well. Funny thing, so it's like Mr. B's kind of filling the void right now. He's actually playing his best Siege, I'd say, since he was in like T3 or something. So they're looking hot, and they're looking poised to potentially go undefeated.
Yeah, well,
or will they get slammed today by Aqualix?
We said it's possible that they got inside of people's heads with that statement. Tanner, let's talk about Aqualix. Okay, Aqualix, they have an overtime win and a regulation loss. It may not look that good on paper, but it's really been kind of like a collection of mistakes. I don't think they've been playing poorly. I think they're still the same Aqualix, but there have been major changes. They're still trying to, I think, work around.
I mean, they look really good on when they play half of the game. I'll give them that credit. On the attack half, Aqualyx have looked very dominant. And you're seeing some of the pressure that Keegan Penguin Smith employs as an IGL. Defenders who play against them don't ever really feel like they have an opportunity to breathe. There's constant pressure, constant threat. But then on the defensive half, which I'll talk about more in my critical points, there's just something lacking that is causing Aqualyx to go from the best team in stage 2 to a team that's struggling out the gate right now, and just losing that playoff berth spot is kind of an indication of that.
Okay, now the critical points. Cookies. I mean, how much? I feel like, can you actually be critical of reality TV right now and not only sing their praises, or is that all you can do at the moment?
Critical points can be positive. We're not just negative Nancy's. Okay.
No,
but
I'm saying we've been too positive about.
Yeah,
them.
we're gonna be. Let's talk about it. Mr. B has an ego. Mr. B thinks he's that guy. Listen, he has the right to think that way. It's his prerogative, right? It's his world. We're just living in it. But actually, it's a criticism and I guess a positive. You want to have ego because it's the same thing we would praise Penguin for on the other side. Oh, Parabellum, the Parabellum ego. They're always talking and chatting this and that. And they ended up winning a lot of games and a lot of money. So you know what? Ego can be your friend. It can also be their enemy. They could also just get, like I said earlier, they could get slammed today and it'd be hilarious, right? It'd be a hilarious interview. We all know that. And I kind of hinted at it earlier. There's been really good, even though I think Tristan yesterday, like one kill in the defensive half on border, they still won that half 5-1. Like, what do you want me to say? They're pretty good.
There's just so much for other teams to figure out. And Tanner, this is what I feel is the uphill battle for Aqualix right now. Not only do they have to figure things out for themselves, but then you have to figure out reality TV if you do manage to sort out your own issues.
I mean, that's a really tough statement to kind of go through, or a tough position to be in. I mean, they're obviously not playing the way that they feel like they can. They probably feel like they can do better. And today is going to be one of those either sink or swim kind of days. If they lose, it's going to be a good wake-up call. If they win, that they still got it. The biggest thing they need to fix if they're going to have any success, though, versus reality TV, is they need to fix their defensive issues. I think number one issue that I was seeing with them is their strategies were kind of bland. The initial positioning of their roamers or their players are not in positions where they're able to trade each other. They have nothing that really slows down the enemy, no Banshees, no shields, in like real critical positions with utility that they have to clear. They're still playing that LMG nade everything kind of meta, and I feel like the game has slowed down quite a bit with the nerf of the LMGs and the nerf of how many operators have grenades. So I think they need to go back into their strat pool a little bit more and give a little bit more diverse strats, maybe bring some more info so that way they can enable the shooters on their team to kind of get these picks on the defensive half. Like I said, on attack, they're not bad. They're doing really well, especially yesterday during Favelas. I think their entry department, they were 5-1 on the attack half. Like, they looked dominant on attack, but if it doesn't matter if you can't win your defenses. So we need to start bringing utility that's going to basically enable your roamers, enable your shooters to kind of get these picks. And if they don't do that, Gavini is going to walk all over them. And that's kind of what is my big critical point for today for Aqualix.
Now, Cookies, we have in the past praised Aqualix on their map pool, but I feel like reality TV, I don't know if there's anywhere they can't go. So Is anywhere safe for Aqualix at the moment?
Not necessary. I mean, based on what I watched yesterday, they played like a skyscraper. You would think that's something that's like, I wouldn't say there's a map in the pool at this point that either team should feel safe or unsafe on, but going through it, reality TV, they're banning out the clubhouse, which I don't know. I feel like the last time I saw an Aqualix club, it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. I know you guys remember what I'm talking about. Where the dude ran through dirt. I mean, they ended up winning that game. But
it's not a dude. It's Freak on Freak's best map. Like, let's be real here.
yeah. It was crazy. It was bonkers. And here's the thing: we're going to Border, another crazy bonkers map. And I just told you guys earlier, Luminosity Reality TV was like, Luminosity is a pretty wild. They were running Glaz and Amaru and trying to break ankles on Reality TV. And Reality TV said, no, you're not gonna get much on us. You're not gonna get anything by us in this map. One attack was taken by Luminosity, and we just talked about how Aqualix, maybe on Skyscraper, they went like what 3-3. They brought the blitz and all that good stuff. They know how to play wild too, but I think Reality TV has the antidote for that. I think they're built for these types of maps.
I'm a little miffed though, Tanner, because we just saw Reality TV dismantle Luminosity yesterday on this map. And maybe Aqualix feels that the VOD review that they had, the fresh VOD review, might give them the edge. I don't know. I'm sorry. I think I've got to change myself to Reality TV here, just based on that map selection.
Me too.
Alone.
I made a mistake. I think I was like dyslexic when I made my.
I think you're both coming over to the dark side, and it's beautiful. I think on that note, I don't like this map choice for Aqualix. I think one of the biggest issues that they're struggling with right now, like I said, was the defensive side. Border's not an easy map to defend at all. It's very easy to isolate defenders and pick them apart. Mr. B is a very intelligent IGL, and he's got Giddy backing him up on the information game and what they need to do. I think this is not a good look for Aqualix. If the shooters aren't shooting today, they're going to struggle. And that's why I'm going to stick with Reality TV today.
Yeah, Cookies, in all fairness though, Aqualix, 2 bad play days can't, not even bad, 2 just off play days can't erase an entire year of, success. They've been a very good team. Is there any reason not to believe that they can't just turn that around today?
I mean, they have champion level players in their team, right? And I think, to be completely real with you, they're probably the best bet to humble Mr. V. I don't think there's any other team that's more complete at the moment that I would pick, because I'd picked Aqualix initially there. I joked about May was an accident. No, I actually picked them, but then I kind of peer pressured and switched just then. But yeah, I truly think Aqualix does have the it, right? They can do it.
Hey, you know what?
That team. They
although
are
I switched my vote, I'll be honest, I would not be surprised if I'm sitting here after talking to Keegan and he is just eating it up. So
yeah,
there's only one thing left to do, and it's let the players decide. They're going back to Border, at least for Reality TV, and they're taking on Aqualix.
I don't know, Brim. Call it recency bias, call it overconfidence, but I'm feeling quite confident that Mr. B will be the winner in the interview at the end of the day. I'm not convinced by AQ's game yesterday, and John, I have a feeling you, at a bare minimum, feel similarly to me.
No, I completely agree with this. Because, I mean, Aqualix, they just look like a husk of what they were in Stage 2. And Reality TV, I mean, they've just bolstered their entire forces as a whole, Carter. And funny enough, I did actually vote for Reality TV to win this matchup. I did my votes a little bit on the later side. I'll be the first to admit it. But I vividly remember making sure I don't pick Aqualix because, again, they just did not look good yesterday. And I still feel like they're trying to pick up the pieces here in terms of trying to fully flush out their playstyle at having some new roster moves going into Stage 3. Taking a look at the bans so far here on Border, you've got Ying, then followed up by Osa. Seems to be a bit of a target ban on each side. Funny enough, I am a little shocked that Reality TV were the ones to actually ban that Ying because they tend to frequent her on pretty much any map they like to go to.
It is something that would very much help reality TV, but with them starting out on the defense, the Candelas are not something you really want to fight all that much. If you're starting out on a border defense, it can make those positions like CCTV a lot easier to clear and also make those defenders a lot easier to isolate, like Tanner was talking about on the desk. Rounding out the final bans, we have a castle ban and a Valkyrie ban. A little bit surprised by AQ banning that castle. I don't really think we saw. I mean, to be fair, it was banned yesterday, but I don't really know if reality TV would have played a lot of the castle on border. Just not something I see super often on this map. But AQ clearly not comfortable with playing against it. And to round out the band, we have the Valkyrie. It's Valkyrie. We all have a good idea as to why you'd want to get that operator off the board. What might be surprising to some of you is not starting out on Armory Archives. Like if I recall correctly, John, saw reality TV start out on yesterday. Instead, they will begin things on Teller's bathroom.
Well, it definitely does grant them a much bigger ability to extend up above. You can still have, you know, that pretty default position over near CCTV, for example, and throughout that as well, you can also work your way in through office as well while lurking about near archives to deny any of that vertical destruction, maybe some of that hatch that you tend to see. So again, it gives you more opportunities to find those entries and still have a good amount of the map control in your back pocket, which I feel like the entry game for reality TV and just their overall aggression when taking gunfights is something that can grant them a lot of success throughout pretty much any portion of the round. So I really can't fault them for going to a quote-unquote healer site off the rip when they can have pretty much any opportunity to pick a gunfight that will give them an advantage.
We'll see Giddy start out aggressive, looking down below that main door, but nobody from Aqualix is biting just yet. They opened up the jail wall early on because it wasn't reinforced, but beyond that, almost all of them, save for Psychosis on one part of the map, have repelled up outside of CCTV and Armory to start their clear over here. Thankfully for them, reality TV aren't contesting it too much. All 5 defenders are, well, nowhere near that position. Giddy might be the one exception, but he's down below inside of Customs looking outside. Beyond that, it is ripe for the taking for AQ.
First minute just about over and done with. Seems like for Aqualyx, they are heading over towards the southern/western side of the map. Already getting control of CCTV. Not a bad start for them, but still a good chunk of this defensive roam game is alive and well, even having that fallback of the bathroom hatch. But I'm sure they'll try to break a couple of more drones before they end up working their way down below and maybe again trying to take some sort of early gun engagement, maybe trying to isolate one of these 2 attackers when they work their way in through archives. But at least for Aqualyx, they have multiple angles to start poking and prodding against this defense, and potentially if they have a good cutoff setup as well, they could maybe deal with the Jaeger before he gets back up by that castle who's here with him too.
We didn't see Tristan get a lot. Well, Tristan didn't get a lot of success in this position yesterday. Not a lot of energy, but it's Packer, the one that goes down first. The mute sprayed down through the main door, through one of the windows. But Gavini strikes back fairly soon after. That's the Armory player taken down very swiftly. And Psychosis, who was going to join Hat in clearing out this fountain position, well, looking like he might be soon to fall as well. Mr. B does go off the board. He's been playing a very isolated position on East Stairs for at least a good portion of the map yesterday. Not sure where he died now. That is less support you can count on upstairs. Ooh, Gavini just walking into East Stairs gets his 2nd kill of the round, avenging the IGL on reality TV and making sure that this upstairs hold remains solid for the time being, even if they don't have as much support as before.
So it would waste plenty of time though. Also, Tristan has pretty much never been dealt with throughout this entire round. He finally gets some contact over near Archives, but Psychosis, already low in HP, just gets DBNO'd. A pretty good spot altogether for Audi TV, but finally Tristan gets silenced. The Iona now able to get revived, and Aqualyx now taking the top floor. At least what it seems to be, but Gavini is still above.
Tristan may be getting a little too over-aggressive there, but Gavini will look. Take down 1, 3rd kill of the round. Got an ace in Playday 1. Almost got an ace yesterday. He's getting dangerous close to trying to go for what could be a theoretical hat trick, but he's cut down by Beastly, leaving Giddy all alone. He was getting aggressive early on, but now in a 1v2, he's just spotted by Afer, but he takes down his teammate. Diffuser dropped on the floor, and he knows exactly where Afer is on the hatch. Sees him drop the 1v2 from Giddy to start out defensive win for reality TV.
Relatively close round for Aqualyx, though. I didn't really hate their clear up above, still being relatively fair in those trades. I also loved in that position they were able to have the cutoff established for Gavini. Once they finally figured out he was probably going to fall back, they were able to shut him down walking down towards those east stairs. But still, Giddy just being in a better position to take those 1-for-1 gunfights and knowing there was still one attacker above, he could just watch the hatch and play for time since there wasn't much left for Aqualyx as a whole. Now for Reality TV, they get to go up above, it seems, towards the Armory Bomb site and probably have a much easier time extending in through CCTV. They basically let Aqualix take that part of the map for free, but since Azami is still in play, there could be a lot of stall potential just in that one position of the map as a whole, Carter.
He should be able to hold this down for at least the first minute of the round if Aqualix are even still fairly diligent with their utility, bringing Nook. That's a set of nades, Psycho and Penguin. Jan and Sledge, who were brought the round prior. That makes that a total of 6 grenades to deal with Giddy in that position. Whether they go just on the same second floor, try to push in through that balcony, or if they want to go from below and try and nade him from customs, that could be another avenue that Giddy has to worry about. Maybe a position that Reality TV would like to hold, but as of right now, as we enter the action phase, there's no one down there. Giddy will certainly have to be careful and watch his feet in case anybody from AQ wants to nade him from below.
Interesting here for Aqualix, they have a Montaigne. Are they going to try to go for an Archives plant, perhaps? That might be the main idea. They don't have any sort of hard breach. Maybe Afer could go on a light lurk as well across the map, running that Nook. Definitely seems to be a bit of a gamble, and depending on where this roam game is underneath, they could potentially deny that defuse, although some of the flooring is actually still indestructible. Yeah, it definitely seems like for Aqualix, they want to try to get this Montaigne in the bomb site as quickly as they can and actually make him be the one go on that plant. Seems a bit odd since, he'd normally be just covering the guy planting, but they're already getting that diffuser down, and so far, no one's here to stop them, Carter.
There is one player down below. Gavini trying to get an angle through the floor. Packer also trying to take him down. Mr. B gets the first kill. Penguin the next to fall. And the bomb goes down successfully. The Reality TV come out ahead with the man advantage and downing the Montaigne. A little bit too late, but making it a 4v2. Still something you'll be very glad to have as we move into the post plant. Here's the window break just next to him inside of office. Waiting to see if anybody walks across his line of sight. He downs Mr. B. Somebody jumps out in time, but a Claymore rips the life away from Tristan. A 3K for Hat so far. And another angle on the roof. One player directly above Hat, both watching the same angle. It seems like this should be around for Aqualix unless Giddy can get the long arm. Concussions land, but that's all Hat has. They have to take the gunfight now. Gavini sees the cross. Giddy might just get it in time. No, they stop him with a second to spare. AQ take a very narrow post plant against Reality TV.
And still having enough utility as well to slow down any potential of that defuse. It was a really good idea for Reality TV to post up that Kiba barrier, since both attackers left for Aqualix were just trying to play for range and forcing Reality TV to overexpose themselves once they finally had that cover of the Azami barricade. They were trying to trick that defuse, but having both a Gone 6 and the Zofia with explosive lifelines were able to force them back off for just a little while longer, and then the concussive blast came into play as well. It was a good attempt to try to stick that defuse, but eventually once Aqualix realized that they were just trying to play to get that defuser fully disabled, ended up extending at the exact same time and just playing for that 2-for-1 confrontation while the Azami was basically no aid during that confrontation. Reality TV now opting to go to the exact same bomb site, but for Aqualix, doesn't seem like they're going to try to go in for that exact same execute because it just barely worked harder. If we had the Oryx just a little bit faster on spotting out that Montaigne, the diffuser might not have even been able to go down on the ground.
Reality TV did such a good job at forcing AQ to waste all their utility, forcing Hat to use all those concussions, which is the main thing they were relying on to stop that defuse once so many of their teammates fell. Not want to try and take that a second time, but no Montaigne, and Amaru instead enters the fray. Flores also joining the board. Packer going outside for some barbed wire, I suppose. Didn't expect to see that one, but still, some potential for maybe not a rush or a rush plant like we saw last time, but some quick play from that Amaru.
Kind of like the idea of that barbed wire. You have an active audio call to know when exactly to swing. Could potentially have someone from CCTV able to aid as well if not too much pressure is put in that one position. So definitely an interesting idea, but I feel like someone could probably just bait on a rappel angle as well. So definitely a really big gamble for both sides with just that one piece of utility. Aqualix so far now trying to go for an Amaru rush up sandwich. I mean, it didn't work out for Luminosity, but for Aqualix's sake, let's hope it works out for them potentially.
Packer was the one to be the undoing for that Amaru into sandwich previously. Giddy could also run across CCTV unless there's anyone outside on Armory balcony, which there is a Rotero drone there. How actively Beastly is watching, that is to be determined. Will destroy an Evil Eye, very useful, and there we go. We do see 2 players on Armory balcony who could pressure Giddy, but also check to see if Packer rotates in front of the very soft wall and the very head holes Reality TV made earlier in the round. No progress yet, or at least nothing made on this sandwich plant, but there we go. Giddy, the CCTV player, he falls down. Packer trades it out very quickly, gets a two-piece, downs Aether onto the floor, finishes him off. AQ want to go for that sandwich plant? I was about to say, they want to, don't have a lot of friends to do it with.
Oh, and Beastly just barely not able to connect enough shots to get rid of Tristan. Still that man advantage for Reality TV, and now Aqualyx might try to just get their hands dirty. Penguin seems to hop in, spots an opportunity, and just falls back. Does not want to grant some sort of trade here, but Gavini, hearing the rappel hop in by Hat, able to shut that down and still give Reality TV that advantage. And once again, Penguin has to just walk into the fray and hope he can work another 1-for-1, but Mr. B will just slap him cold in his face, leaving only Beastly left in a 1 versus 3.
Outside of Archive's door at the moment. They'll slowly creep on in. This is where Penguin tried to bring the round back for AQ, but now Beastly has a much taller task in front of him. 3 flashbangs to do it. He'll send the first on in, but he's unaware of the many angles, all firing shots towards his direction. And he'll finally end the same way the rest of his 4 teammates did. The overall strat for AQ, not at all meeting the same success that their previous one did.
Aqualyx just didn't seem like they were fully prepared to go in and attack the bomb site all at the exact same time. You had a nade by the Ayana to try to remove anyone from that blue half wall, which is probably one of the most dangerous spots to have to deal with when you are an Amaru, as you immediately have to go gun up and take that gunfight outside of Sandwich, and then you're exposed even then to a potential trade. With that Amaru plan just not even working out at all, it seemed like Aqualyx just had to completely change up the dynamic of that round, and they were really relying on just the plan A to work and had no failsafe in that round. Rowdy TV now getting to go back down into Bathroom and Taylors, where hopefully their trade game turns out to be a little more efficient, as Aqualyx were pretty consistent on dealing with that top 4 presence. It's just once they ended up running low on a lot of time, that allowed Giddy to find 2 really clean 1-for-1s to bring that round back for Reality TV's sake.
I'm interested to see if Mr. B has a little bit more success in that East Stairs position as well. We saw him slowly decrease his potential impact, or his impact in that position as the game went on against LG yesterday, but did start out with getting a very important kill on Ace against Luminosity, so I want to see if he's able to accomplish something similar this time, or if he'll, well, just be pinched out by AQ like he was before. Overall, still a fairly similar setup. Some changes made by Aqualyx, but not in terms of positioning. Still starting over on that jail side, except they... Oh, okay, I was about to say, they don't have Penguin opening up this time, but there we go. Now we are pretty much the exact same start that AQ had back in round 1.
Still seems like for Audi TV that they're not really too concerned about that CCTV position. They do still have someone waiting in for that eventual jail hop up the exact same spot as well for Giddy 2, rocking that DMR with the Aruni. Hat almost losing his life to Mr. B part, and now acknowledging there is a small extension leading up the stairs. Yeah, this does pretty much look to be almost the exact same style for Aqualyx, except I think they want to try to clear out that first floor maybe a little bit faster than expected. That way they can just all focus in on this top floor clear, but still, it's the exact same time frame of getting that CCTV control and the exact same positions being held by Aqualyx as well to deal with Mr. B playing up above.
But this time it starts out with not a kill from Beastly, but a kill onto Beastly, the main hard breacher for AQ, dispatched with and fallen off the board. Someone who maybe could have made better use, or could have made good use of those X-Kairos to clear out that fountain position that gave AQ so much trouble in round number 1. Now you don't have that to deal with, and also don't have Penguin's nades to deal with either. One of the more aggressive players, at least from what we saw in the last round, to try to bring things back for AQ. You don't have to rely on Psychosis and Hat to do that. Which one of them will make good work of it? Finally pushes in and takes down Mr. B, but already after half the round's been wasted.
Not the best spot as a whole here. And for Audi TV, they can still play passive if they want to. Maybe go for another fallback, as you still don't really have to worry all too much about that server control. Afer now trying to work his way back up above. It seems like a lot of desperation once again here for Aqualyx, as they really haven't been able to gather all that much more map control from the very minute moving in towards now. Gavini spots out Afer. The last kill goes his way as well. And Reality TV having a much smoother attack because there was just less utility that they had to actually deal with that top floor presence, especially near East Stairs, as Mr. B was still able to find 1 kill and just have Gavini take his place as well once he had fallen.
Of a tactical timeout called by Aqualyx. Think a fitting one as well. That was just Reality TV running amok all over AQ's attack. Though I say that might not be the most accurate phrasing. They ran amok across their attack in that dominating the kill feed, keeping the control they had, but it wasn't really very active from them. They were just holding their positions, biding their time. When AQ walked in and tried to clear them, more often than not, they ended up falling. So running amok might not be the most accurate phrasing. Instead, Reality TV saw what AQ were doing and just called their bluff, waited, and when AQ tried to push them out, they stood fast and took down any player that tried to go after them. Now they won Bathroom Tellers and Armory Archives. Before that, we'll see the third bomb site on this border game between Reality TV and AQ, likely Ventilation and Workshop to be the next one up in Reality TV's rotation, similar to what they did yesterday. And here, John, I would likely expect a lot more fervent hold of CCTV, something that we have not seen in their Bathrooms Tellers defenses.
Interesting to not have an Azami for that, though, so might be a little
Maybe
more
not.
yeah, might be a little more lackadaisical than expected. Still 2 shields, though, and typically you don't want to expend those on the first floor unless you might want to extend a little bit into the bathroom, for example. So I could imagine we still, again, have a very heavy extension up above, but yeah, I guess maybe not so much in towards CCTV. Interesting to see that. But Aqualix, in particular, just not timing their clears all too well. And in particular, again, just more or less focusing on one point of the map, but not attacking it from multiple directions. It seemed like they were only working their way in through that southern balcony, which is inside from the valley spawn. And that was pretty much it when trying to deal with Mr. B in particular. All right. Seems like for Reality TV, they want to extend a little bit more towards Armory instead. Not the worst idea at all, but could be very difficult depending on how exactly Aqualix want to coordinate. But again, doesn't really seem like they've been, attacking areas from multiple fronts. Seems like they've all been going in single file line for the most part this front.
Reality TV are giving them a lot of areas to think about and a lot of parts of the map that they'll have to consider on this attack. So if they just go in single file, they'll likely meet a similar fate to round number 4. See Psychosis starting off in a similar position over towards Archives, and well, everyone from AQ generally on that same part of the map, very much focusing on Office at the moment instead of trying to tackle that CCTV side. Still something useful, still some useful control they'll need to get, but Cavini, oh no! Rotates right in front of the hole made by Penguin just a few seconds prior, gifts an opening pick to Aqualix.
And Giddy as well, really gets shut down by Hats. He now works his way through the fake room, but have to fall back a little bit to pull out that goo mine. Not the best roam so far for Reality TV. Now they feel a bit pressured to fall back just a bit, but Tristan doesn't want to give up Armory for free. Maybe trying to work some sort of 1-for-1 before he eventually departs from himself as well. But already a major improvement here for Aqualix, being able to spot out and isolate those 1-for-1s, and now having a good chunk of the map in their back pocket as well. Really the only line of defense is Tristan having just slight backup from Mr. B, and finally spotting out that people are pushing him from the outside part of Army. He'll have to fall back, and Mr. B able to spot out onto Afer, but still Aqualix have great control of the map.
I was about to say, and that's the one kill that Mr. B likely could have gotten, but there aren't many more opportunities for Reality TV to get aggressive and bring this round back. We likely said a similar thing in a 2v4 that Reality TV were in yesterday, and they still were able to win it out with Mr. B at the helm. So he'll be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat and make magic happen. Tristan will rotate out of the site, as likely both him and Mr. B have come to the decision that in order to win this, they'll have to play retake. Mr. B hears one's drop. That Psychosis, head standing right in the way, easily felled by Mr. B's weapon. Still playing outside of the site, though. Not wanting to get too aggressive. They're allowing AQ to have this space, John, but they slowly creep back over to metal stairs. Mr. B waiting for someone to drop. Him and Tristan now consolidating inside of Customs. But AQ not making a move just yet.
Still plenty of time to work this through. Good info being gathered by Beastly. I believe he was able to spot out both Tristan and Mr. B. That could potentially allow Aqualix to better tailor out this attack, but Mr. B and Tristan just collapse inside of A, leaving just Penguin left alive. How did this happen? It looked so good on paper and the early game, but now Reality TV somehow retake the lead, and Penguin is forced to maybe bait some sort of post-plant position. But no, they'll just opt to stick it. A good play by Keegan, but it is a 2 versus 1. Still seems very tough for the lone sledge.
Indeed, he'll creep back out to main door, sees the rotate, gets one, gets both remaining players on Reality TV. Almost a biblical 2v5 clutch by Mr. B and Tristan. The Penguin's able to get the bomb down, creep back out, wrap around to main door, and piece up the remaining defenders. But that still should be known how close that came to disaster for Aqualix.
Yeah, down to the wire on a round that really looked perfect on paper. Again, those 4v2 positions that Reality TV almost always come back from. Finally, one of those times Aqualix will be able to take it right back from almost their cold dead hands. especially with that overexposure as well in the early round. It was a really good job by Aqualyx to catch out Reality TV when they were just getting a little too overconfident in those early engagements and putting themselves in that 5-on-3. It really helped them speed up that top floor clear and, again, force Reality TV to not be in a position to try to play for any kind of trade advantage. Then Aqualyx just, I would say they didn't have a lot of info, but we just saw Beastly on a cam be able to spot Reality TV going back into the bomb site, but I guess it was just, you know, said on unopened ears, allowing Reality TV to find a couple of great refrags towards the last couple of moments. But again, that 1v2 clutch by Penguin, rotating back inside to catch both defenders off guard. Really well done by him.
Reality TV go back to Armory now, and the only time Aqualyx won this site was off the back of Montaigne pushing into Archives and everyone from Aqualyx working around that, allowing the Montaigne to get the plant down, and then managing to win that out in the post plant. But when they tried to take this a different way, try to base it off in a Maru instead of a Montaigne, it did not work out this time, John. No weird operators, no off picks in the lineup right now. Trying to play this a lot more standard. Starting, Penguin slowly crouch walking into jail, taking this early bit of control before a CCTV, an important bit of control if they want to nade Giddy from below. Gavini, he's rotated back now, but still they need to be careful that Oryx won't get the best of them.
Aqualyx might just end up trying to tunnel vision on this guy in CCTV, putting all their focus on this one player, and yeah, that might allow the element of surprise here for Gavini, who really hasn't been detected all too much in this early round. Giddy as well having a fallback option as well. He might be able to rotate down in through 90, so if there is too much utility brought towards him, that could be his eventual fallback, not even having any of the hatches opened up during the prep phase. Aqualyx now gathering full information on the Azami's position, almost able to nade him out as well, but still wasting a bit of extra time. Finally, the sledge begins to hop in, but Penguin still gets taken care of, but at least Aqualyx are there to trade.
Penguin decides to go 1-for-1, but Mr. B might just line 2 up. If one of them goes through this break room door, Gavini instead takes down A for the other soft destructor for Aqualyx, and also retakes into 90. Here's the barbed wire Q on 1, but takes down the other one on that break room door. That allows Mr. B to rotate up and tag team everyone remaining attacker inside of CCTV. Beastly still wins it out. Mr. B finishes off Hat. Triple kill for the Wamai so far. The Flores. Beastly, the 1v3, spotted by Packer, not finished off. He'll sprint further into the clutches of Reality TV and directly into a crossfire, giving Reality TV the 4-2 half they were looking for.
Really good play by Gavini as well, able to retake CCTV with such confidence. Once he killed Psychosis, hearing that barbed wire melee allowed him to get a little bit closer into that one portion of the map without having to worry about getting immediately refragged, and yet finding essentially a second kill. He did down one player who ended up popping back in. Mr. B able to confirm that. And in the 1vx there wasn't all too much left for Aqualyx. But again, in the early round, they looked pretty strong. They were able to get rid of that one major force, being Giddy, just playing inside of CCTV with all those key barriers. But then they just, again, completely lost the main plot of the storyline. They allowed Reality TV just to slip right back in through the cracks of their armor, I suppose, and just take full advantage of CCTV room once again by working their way in through the back balcony and just simply walking through the 90 rotate that they had as well. Still seems like a couple of things need to be worked on here for Aqualyx, but hey, at least they get the defensive half now.
They do get the defensive half, but it's pertinent and important to remember something that Tanner brought up on the desk yesterday in their match against Favelas. Their attacks were not the thing that we were worried about. Their attacks seemed to be the stronger part for them on Skyscraper. It was their defenses that left quite a bit to be desired. They're very passive on Skyscraper, and admittedly, Border is a different map, and it tends to incentivize some more aggressive play if the defense wants to succeed. But AQ need to be careful that they aren't letting that passivity get the best of them. They are trying to actively hold not only their control on the map, but take fights, the Reality TV attackers.
Lafer might be looking to be that first point of contact. Seems like he's playing rather aggressive here on the back balcony. Just, again, waiting for someone to maybe open up the east stairs doorway or potentially that break room door either. Good info being gathered with a pre-placed drone on top of one of the ceiling fans, so they know that there at least is some sort of an extension over by CCTV, but it seems like Penguin just falls back a little bit. Afer could potentially be crossfired with that, but it doesn't seem like Aqualyx are too far away to eventually try to go for a re-engagement at some point, but definitely seems like there could be a major vulnerability capitalized on this lone Zofia, or pardon, Ella, my mistake, but actually, it's the Oryx who dies at the hands of Gavini instead.
But so much active intel held on these Aqualyx defenders, one in CCTV and 90 being Penguin, the other Afer in Courtyard, who does rotate inside of Break Room, getting closer to Penguin and out of the line of sight of that drone. Still intel on the general positions of 2 players, and maybe even direct intel on one, if not both of them. Penguin knows someone's outside of that armory balcony. He'll drop down fairly soon after, and good timing that he did. Tristan utilized the intel gained earlier by that drone, moves into Break Room and moves outside of it, gets an angle on Afer, cuts down the Ella. 5v3 right now for Reality TV, and they've made great headway into CCTV.
Once again, not really overexposing themselves either, just again playing off that info they had already set up during the prep phase. Now moving in with just about a minute 10 left on the board. Penguin trying to retake the top floor, but I believe that drone was able to locate him. Yep, just still giving active information as well, forcing him to maybe fall back just a little bit once that drone gets destroyed. But no, he'll linger for just a little while longer. He knows he needs to win this gunfight, but Gavini just quicker on the draw. 5 versus 2 now, and a 5 versus 1 with Reality TV just having complete and utter domination. It's only Beastly left to stand, and his position at this point, Carter, is well known. There isn't much left for the Lone Frost to try to accomplish. They'll just end up falling back down in their own grave. Flawlessly done for Reality TV.
Great use of intel overall, and great ability to make plays off of that intel. That was the name of the game for Reality TV. It's how they got that first kill of the round onto Hat, the second kill of the round onto Afer, and then the third one onto Penguin. All were drones looking at positions that defenders were playing in, especially Afer and especially Penguin, to then feed that information to maybe not even necessarily one of the entries on Reality TV, but just somebody on Reality TV who could make a play off of it, then move in, get the kill, and move on. Wasn't even really then getting map control after that. It was just winning the round. They had gotten 3 kills in about the first half of the round, maybe a minute 45 max. And at that point, control isn't even really a factor anymore. You already have pretty much most of the map because AQ are likely going to rotate back. And then it's just a matter of taking down the remaining 2 players. The intel was so good for Reality TV in that round, they basically just needed to finish it off and disregard the other steps they likely had in their checklist.
It just allows perfect timing to take those engagements. I mean, pretty much every time Reality TV went in for some sort of gunfight, they had full info that Aqualyx weren't really an arm's length to play for any kind of trade. So if they win that gunfight, that is already making great impact on the round, as Aqualyx are not going to be able to do a thing after that kill goes down. If Aqualyx just continue to play, again, incredibly separated despite having such a big emphasis on these extensions, they're going to continue to meet the exact same fate of these very one-sided round wins where Reality TV just have perfect knowledge as to how exactly to punish you so well on these roam games. And it seems like, once again, Reality TV just playing pretty relaxed, once again gathering good information. They spot out the Exami extension done by Psychosis and might be able to work off some sort of pick so long as they're aware of the Maestro's presence as well in this round.
Seems like they're well aware that Beastly is playing aggressive inside of Armory, or at least going to try to stop Reality TV from pushing into CCTV as easily as they might otherwise be able to. Ooh, but a big kill by Penguin to start out. Playing on that balcony, that courtyard balcony, takes down the main hard breacher for Reality TV. That ace might not be the most important if they want to push CCTV, but if they wanted to push Office later on, you'll definitely wish you had those Selma charges to make use of. Still, though, even with that loss from Tristan, they're going to need to start finding some success on the CCTV position. They have a kill on the Hat. They spent so much time trying to clear out that spot. They might want to rotate now, but still, they'll definitely feel defeated. That's before they got 2 kills like that.
Yeah, just threading the needle onto Psychosis and then denying Penguin of finding the refrag. I can't even fault Aqualyx. They tried playing that one correctly, but Reality TV, they are just simply better in this matchup. Match point for the attacking squad, and they have a 4-round advantage while doing so, too.
That's not even entirely on Aqualyx right there.
Yeah.
They got the first kill onto Tristan, important pick, taking down the hard breacher. And Reality TV at that point, I was a little worried. I was like, should you maybe try to keep pushing onto CCTV? You still have some utility to try and clear out that Azami with, but they decided to rotate, and just barely over half the round left. Okay, they'll go for the rotate. And then at that time, they just catch everyone in CCTV mid-rotation, or at least just moving inside of the area. And then the same with the rest of the remaining 2 players in the round. Reality TV, I doubt, intended the round to end that way based off of the rotation over to Office. But it worked out anyway. Just one of those situations where, unlucky AQ, this will try to move on, but now it's match point, and you have to win 4 rounds in a row after Reality TV have already stopped you from winning a single one this half.
And that was probably their best looking site defense as a whole, because again, Penguin got a really clean opening entry, and Reality TV still just simply walked at their opponents and were able to deny basically just the stronghold of an extension done with those key barriers to make sure that Psychosis pretty much had no vulnerabilities when playing in that one position, but still just somehow they beat it. They overcome adversity and now have to go and attack Ventilation and Workshop, with some Goyos being implemented as well, maybe just trying to slow down these overall clears, which definitely can be a fan of, especially since Reality TV have been prone to taking their time, being a bit more on the methodical side. So especially if Aqualix can win that entry game once again while also implementing more of a stall kind of composition, they definitely could have a lot more success on this round.
We'll start out trying to make sure that we'll stop any AQ aggression running out of the building. Some air jabs placed on main door. Now start moving up towards the armory balcony, where they will likely find Penguin trying to get aggressive at some point in the round. That man does not pick Oryx and put himself in CCTV. He's just going to sit there passively for the entire round. He might not get aggressive now, but I imagine he won't be able to stop himself. He'll try to take a gunfight later. Kabini moves on in, and while Penguin doesn't take a gunfight, one is gifted to him. Not really gifted in terms of, well, the ability to win it, but just gifted in that it could have happened. He takes it, loses almost all of his HP, now backs off down into Customs. Gavini, full CCTV control at the moment, now immediately starting to put pressure inside of Archives and Office, but it's Packer who gets the first bit of success in that location.
And to think if Penguin was gone too, could have been a potential 5 versus 3, but still, with Penguin having to fall back for a good chunk of time, only now can he come back up above. I believe hopping through the hatch, if not going up the metal stairs, but still very low on HP. This could easily turn into just one defender of Hat trying to just one-man army this top floor. And once again, Reality TV, they are just slowly closing in on their prey from multiple fronts. This does seem to be a very difficult spot to try to hold out from Carter.
Packer's going to put a lot more pressure onto Penguin, especially, who's already so low on health. Penguin might be able to react in time if Packer doesn't pull the trigger quick enough, but the opportunity doesn't present itself. Both players just waiting, hoping that the other moves first, the other blinks. Packer also letting the rest of his team get into position, pressuring that armory wall. They send it on in. Down goes Hat. Down goes Penguin soon after. Finally finished off by Giddy as the wall he's sitting on is ripped open behind him. Lycosis now walks up the stairs, gets the first kill, but quickly traded out. Not finished off, but put down on the floor. Reality TV, oh no, Beastly actually is the one who downs Psychosis, and he pays for his insolence by losing 7-2, Mr. B and the boys.
You said Blinken, you might miss that one attack, but Blinken, you might have missed the whole game. It seemed like we just got on border, and Reality TV already here to impress once again with their 3-0 record so far in Stage 3. And again, I mentioned this earlier for what Aqualix are kind of failing at to do on their attacks, but Reality TV, again, their cross coordination throughout the entire map, having that push both in through Archives and the armory doorway at the exact same time to make sure that small office player probably has to drop the hatch unless they want to, you know, just die up above. That's exactly what happened. And then when Hat was trying to also back up Penguin, he still was in a bad spot too. He has to worry about that doorway from Archives leading into Armory Room, and then the walls are just getting opened up upon him at the exact same time. Really just pristine team play by Reality TV and Aqualix. I mean, at some points they were trying to help each other out, but then there were other times where they were just on an island almost asking to die.
And I think before we send it back to the desk, one thing that we should keep in mind as just evidence for how good Reality TV are right now. It was a 7-2 victory, and in one of the rounds AQ won, Reality TV very narrowly clutched a 3v5, and in the other one, they very narrowly got the defuse off in a post plant. And if those two things happen, if they win those clutches that they were just this close to winning, that's a 7-0. Good on AQ for closing out those 2 rounds, but I think as the desk will agree, there's more evidence that Reality TV might just be the best team in Challenger League right now.
I mean, I couldn't have set it better up than Lynx there, Tanner. I think with Aqualix, they were staring down the barrel of what very well could have been a 7-0 steamroll. You know, that I mean, it's only what 39 minutes into the day or something like that already. This is moving quick, and I think Aqualix very much had their hands full. And we talked about it pregame, Tanner. It was 4-2 going into their defensive half, where we know it's not as good for them. There's just so much that was left wanting on the side of Aqualix.
I mean, their defenses looked flat. They were getting picked apart the whole time. They thought they were having like these really strong positions. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the observer, Max, who was watching that standoff between Packer and Penguin. And it's like we could see they're just holding and they're just waiting for the other one to make a mistake. And then what happens? Mr. B comes in the back door with a buck shotgun and opens it up. And now there's 3 guys exploding into armory. And they were just way more dynamic on their attacks. And because of just the turret-like gameplay we were seeing from Aqualix, their inability to trade each other out, they just looked flat on their face.
But now let's flip the script, because Cookies, have we ever in Challenger League seen the type of pacing that reality TV has consistently, and then at a maximum level that we saw today?
I will say we haven't seen that in a very long time. Now, that is quite the compliment. They are indeed 3-0 now. No one can rock with them. Gavini, 16-4. I mean, it's like
in 9 rounds. Let's not.
How many more of these are we gonna see? We're not even like that far to stages, or he's already dropped like 2 Herculean performances. Like you said, I haven't seen a team like this like in the Face It era. Like, I'm gonna say it. If they keep playing at this, like, as tempo, because I don't even think TV was like, TV would give you heartache.
No,
like, they won a lot, but give them that. TV would like heart beating at the chest. This game was so chill. We were just sitting back watching it, like, yeah, our TV's gonna win.
That's a great point. Like, as good as PB was in CL, their thing wasn't the pacing that we're seeing now. Even Ape in their prime in CL didn't have the type of pacing that we're seeing out of this team. And it's like, I almost would want to say that with Aqualix, it's like skill doesn't come in. They're not allowed to do what they're good at doing, because all of a sudden you've got someone at your doorstep before you can even execute on your strategies and everything like that. But there's only one thing to do right now, and it's let's talk to Mr. B, because
Oh, hi, sorry, I was just writing up my McDonald's application because
oh my god,
So
I
it's like
can't even
we're a
I can't
B-tier
even look
team.
at you right now. Okay, let's try to make maybe the interview a little quicker than the game, or a little longer than the game,
Yeah.
because that was a fast game. First and foremost, I just wanted to say, how is it possible that you have a game where 4 of you have excellent games, phenomenal games, and yet you are still overshadowed by Gavini?
He's just a beast, But yeah, hey, it's always a team effort, and Gavin's just another part of that. But he absolutely is just a crucial part of that, and he's our spearhead, as we said yesterday, right? Packer's absolutely right. I love the boy.
I have to say though, I got to flip it over to another G player in Giddy. We felt like Giddy has been playing poorly as of late, but he's been a bit quieter than we know that the things that Giddy can pull off. And today was, we felt, a very bounce back game for him. He had an excellent game today.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Giddy's just a really consistent, solid player, right? And he's gonna have those games where he has a 0.9. He's gonna have those where he has a 1.3, right? But you're never gonna see him drop too far down, and that's what is so amazing about Giddy, right? He's our perfect kind of like flex player. He does everything we need him to do, right? And I love him to death.
Now I know the goal at this point is to keep the wins coming. There's no losses happening. What do you do as a team, on a very serious note? I'm being serious here, Mr. B.
Okay.
What do you do as a team to have that confidence that you have, but stay level and still recognize mistakes and things to improve on? Where do you go from here?
Well, we don't look at it from like we want to beat these other Challenger League teams. We look at it as what do we need to win the 6 Invitational, right? What do we need to beat, the best team out there that we've played, right? If we can beat the best team, right, I promise you we can beat Aqualix. Yeah, no. So
Okay,
that's
well,
kind of
I
the whole
appreciate
idea.
your time. I think we did manage to eclipse the time it took to play the game, so I'm happy with that. Thank you very much, Mr. B. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Oh man, I can't believe this is all over and done with. That first game already. I'm kind of flabbergasted. I think the only thing left to do is to catch our breath, go to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have that Aerial Rise and XLSR game to bring back to you guys. We'll see everyone in a few minutes.